If you want the best coverage from the farm system to the front office, then you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast, now on the Dub Network. Here are your hosts, Jeff and John.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast. This is episode number 100, and today we decided we're going to do something a little different.
Yeah.
What we wanted to do on episode 100 is go back when this thing started, when Jeff and I got together and we started this thing. Actually, Jeff started on your own when you started the Substack. This was right after you, the place that shall not be named, and you left there.
Yeah.
You don't even cover the Rangers anymore, by the way.
What an embarrassment.
Yeah. In any case, I'll never forget it. We were standing up outside the dugout.
Yep.
We were sitting there talking. Jeff and I had gotten to know each other. My wife had gone with me to spring training. We were at spring training. We had beers and talked, and we knew each other, but we didn't really know each other. And we started to talk and have fun, and I knew I was going to get Jeff on my old podcast. And then we just sat there talking, and just out of the blue, I was like, you ever thought of doing a podcast?
Yeah.
And you had.
I had, but the old place said, oh, it's too much work. And I don't know, maybe it's just you, but you make it look pretty easy. I mean, but you do all the legwork here and have from the start. So, I don't know if
It's not that hard.
Yeah, I don't deserve the credit that you keep throwing on me because you do it all.
Well, no, let me talk. And we're going to go over our favorite episodes, and that's why you get the credit on this. First of all, you've got the book that came out that you wrote, because you write. I mean, look, y'all saw my Armchair GM came out yesterday. A lot of editing goes into that, believe me, that he has to correct a lot of stuff. I'm not the writer. That I have my ideas is what I have, but I'm not a writer.
Man. Yeah.
Huh?
You're an idea man.
I'm an idea man. I'm not a writer. But so we were standing there in front of that dugout. We're talking. And then it immediately when you said no and you wanted to, I thought, I've always wanted a co-host.
Yeah.
Because every episode I had ever done that had the most, and it's nothing like you and I get. But I built a little thing that was going pretty good.
All right.
And I was like, but every great episode I had guests on. And why? Because you could just sit there and talk.
Yeah.
And you could talk about it. It's not just you. And so immediately the wheels went in motion. I said, we ought to do this. And you said, hey, I've wanted to. And you knew it was a way to outlet the Substack.
Yeah.
And we could do that.
Yeah.
TR had jumped on board. He had just started with you, immediately started on, which, I mean, you were already credible, but that helped.
Oh, yeah.
TR jumping on was great. And he just was like, hey, because TR backs all you guys. I mean, you guys were beat writers making a living. He knew what the hell was happening over there. And he was ready to go. And I was like, well, let's do this. So we started it off. And guys, it was this whole process talking to the guys that I had dealt with. We had to make sure I was going to get credentialed and all of that. We got that all squared away. John and them did it. But I'll never forget, on a Friday, I let the old people know, hey, I'm ready to let this go. And they didn't even pay me. But I was like, if you need me to give you 2 weeks, whatever. The guy, I give him credit. He was cool. He said, no, congratulations.
Okay.
Go do it. And episode 1 was like the next Tuesday. And the very first, it's the one I want to talk about. We're going to go back over the 100. I want to talk about
all 100.
Not all 100, but our favorites.
Yeah.
Our favorite episodes. And by the way, eventually, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, I think we are going to do some kind of clip episode maybe to get out of the 100. But number 1, I knew what I had done when I said, let's do number 1. And you said, okay, well, I've got John Daniels is going to be on number 1.
Yeah.
I had met John. I met him. I'd been there to interview John when you guys had interviewed him. Never got a picture in. I mean, never got a question in. He probably saw my face, didn't know who I was. That's when I met John.
Okay.
That was cool.
Yeah.
And I knew right away, this was a good move. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the Texas Rangers Baseball Podcast. This is episode 1, and this is a huge one because joining us on episode 1, this is why I teamed up with this guy, Jeff Wilson. He pulled a coup. We are going to have the Rangers president of baseball operations, John Daniel, and he's going to join us, Jeff.
I guess it's a good thing when these guys say, yeah, I'll do it. I think that means that I'm not their enemy.
No.
That they know I'm not going to hold their nuts to the fire or anything. And I never try to. I mean, I have to ask hard questions at times.
Sure.
But
I don't.
But I don't. I'm pretty laid back. I don't push the issue. I go in there, I get my answers. I don't try to get War and Peace out of them. And
right.
I kind of think they appreciate that. You know, I mean, like, you know,
I see that.
They don't want to. Nobody likes to talk about a blown save or, you know, an error that like Elvis Andrus in 2015 Game 5 when he made the 2 errors and in that inning and was just crushed. And you know, he talked and these guys are professional enough and they'll do it, but they don't want to.
Right.
So why prolong their misery? So
exactly.
But then, you know, then this kind of caught on, you know, and I think the big thing that I didn't expect was that these guys watch the minor leaguers.
Yeah.
That we have on. They want to make sure that these guys are saying the right things.
Right.
And
I think they love that we do that.
And some of them have, you know, come out of their shells. And, you know, we've asked for recommendations and, you know, is this guy a good talker or, you know, is this guy's English good enough and things like that. And they'll say no, or
yes,
I'd stay away from him or whatever. But, they do enjoy seeing what the guys have to say. And it's media training, you know, to an extent too, because when they do get to the major leagues, they get microphones are in their face after every game in the major leagues. Right. They're not in the minor leagues. Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about this a little bit later, but one of your favorite episodes I know was when we had Evan Carter on for the first time. We've had him on twice and, you know, he gets called up and he's pretty comfortable because he knew us and I think he was relieved to see us there. And because of the several times we'd interviewed him either in person at Frisco or spring training or on the podcast. And
absolutely.
And then, geez, he was swarmed, you know, during the postseason and he handled it great.
Yep.
You know, and everybody just kind of, he's just an shucks young kid and, you know, people were charmed by it, I think. And, but you know, we haven't done it alone. You know, you've been a huge help. The Rangers PR staff, media relations staff has been very helpful, starting with John Blake and Rich Rice and
who have absolutely been great.
Will Nadell helped us out a lot this year. And
Joel Perez,
who's our producer. And, you know, I'd be remiss to not thank Roxo Media House for what they did for us and helping us. And
initially, absolutely.
Initially, I mean, I won't thank everybody there because I don't like everybody there, but the ones I do like know who they are and appreciate their help. And then, you know, Premier Properties, your 9 to 5, and the help that we get from Karen is really nice. And you know, there are a lot of other people to thank along the way, but
this podcast, I've got to think it's the best Texas Ranger coverage podcast there is because of the people we had on. And I knew when we got JD, that was great. But, you know, I want to revert back to of all the episodes. This is episode 100. It's amazing. We're here already. I never got close to that with the old podcast. But we've stayed at it. We've been a little over 2 years. We've almost gone every week. Yeah, almost every week.
Most weeks, yeah.
And we took the 4 weeks. We weren't off during the 4 weeks of the postseason, but we knew we've always been able to get guests on here, and we just knew it was going to be tougher.
Right.
Well, I had on my old podcast, I was able to get a few guests. You were going to eventually come on. I'd had on Kennedy, a beat writer, TR had come on, but I had never really, the players I had gotten was kind of getting to know them. And I had like Taylor Hearn on and stuff like that, but I didn't have the manager didn't come on. I couldn't pull that deal. So number 7 was big for me too. We had done number 1 with JD. Our second episode was Josh Young, by the way.
Right.
And he was sitting in that hotel room playing, and was he in AA then, or
he was with Round Rock, and they were having technical difficulties. I think they were in El Paso.
Bad Wi-Fi. It was horrible Wi-Fi during that. But Chris Woodward, we had the manager of the Texas Rangers on.
Right.
On episode number 7, you can go back and watch. When I list these, you'll know which ones they are if you want to go back and listen to them or watch them. That was the first time we had Chris Woodward, and I knew, okay, we've had on the general manager, and we've had on the manager.
Yeah.
Jeff's got some pull. And look, you did have the pull. Look, John and Rich became closer to me because I was associated with you. They've been great with me since then. And known that I was a part of Rangers Today because they like Rangers Today. They do like Rangers Today.
Yeah.
And so, but when we got Chris Woodward on, I was like, okay, this is the best thing I ever did. moving over here. No offense to where I was, but I don't have to worry about trying to scramble. I could bring it up, and I would bring up guests to you and go, maybe we ought to try this guy. Guys, I'm not kidding. It's so great. I would go, hey, let's try Chris Young.
It's been a couple weeks since the moves. Are you feeling that you are in a good place? Are you all the shock and awe is over with?
Yeah, I mean, I think more or less, yes. I think just making sure that as an organization, we've obviously undergone a lot of change over the last couple of weeks, and making sure that we've tried to create some stability, make sure everybody knows that things are still looking up, the arrow's pointed up. We have a lot of great things happening. We just need to focus on doing our jobs, finishing the season strong, both at the major league level and through the player development system, and keep focusing on what we need to do to, day in, day out to really make our organization a step closer to being a championship team.
What about you? Any stick out?
Well, it's more like the guests, I think, for me, and we've obviously, and this is timely because he just got a job with the Angels, but we had Ron Washington on earlier this year, and Wash was my first manager. I'm on number 4 now. He's taught me a lot about the game, and he's just a good man. We talked the other day, and you've been paying a little attention to the Rangers. What are you seeing from them?
Well, I've been paying plenty attention to the Rangers.
Okay, all right.
And I've been paying plenty attention ever since they hired Bochy. That's what they needed. They needed a leader that garnered total respect. And I'm not saying the ones there before wasn't garnering total respect, but you could see the young talent there, and they needed guidance. And he's a winner.
Yeah.
Chris Young went out and got a winner to lead a group of kids that's fighting to win. And I think they ain't going in the right direction right now. The pitching is doing well. The offense is off the chain right now. I mean, everybody in that lineup is doing something. It's not just one guy. You got that young kid at third base. He's starting to come into his own. You got the catcher. He's starting to come into his own. The center fielder, Tavares. He's been around a couple years, but now he looked like he's turning into a young man and understanding how to play the game. You got Marcus Semien. You got Seager, who's been out, and the guy's been doing well. So there is a lot to look forward to. But the one thing that you do have to understand, it's a long year. And when you talk about being successful, it's not for a week and it's not for a month. You have to be able to sustain for a long period of time. And so far, when they've been knocked down, I've noticed they've gotten back up. And that goes to the staff there and to Bochy. I love Bochy. I really do. And I think that's the best move over the winter that the Texas Rangers made, bringing Bruce in there, because he's a winner.
It's pretty funny. The Angels job, I'd texted him that he said he did, the news broke that he had interviewed, and I interviewed him the night before, or I texted him the night before. I said, how's this going? And he goes, I nailed the interview. He knew he nailed the interview. So then next day is, I guess last Wednesday, he's flying home, and the news breaks. So I sent him a text. Well, he was on a plane, and he had no idea that he'd been hired.
Right.
And so he didn't know that he was the new Angels manager until he landed. Just because people had been sending him texts and everything, and he was like, he had no idea. And the Angels didn't even call him until like 9:00 that night. Anyway, he was introduced yesterday, but he's always wanted to manage again. It didn't end well with the Rangers. Whatever happened. But this is a good man.
He deserved another chance.
He deserved it. He repaired his image. He's beloved, and everywhere he's been, he's beloved. And
players freaking love him.
Yeah. So having Wash on was a big deal for me. And he called me Saturday night, and we talked about the job, and it was my wife's birthday, and we're celebrating. And Ron Washington called. I was like, well, I got to talk to I got to take this. and happy birthday, honey. But
Ron didn't call me.
I'm talking to Wash. But Wash has been a favorite of mine. Kip Fagg has been fantastic. The 2 times he's been on.
I've got him, number 44. That's number 44. That's the first time.
At 89, yeah. he just talks ball, and he talks about the draft, and he teaches you things you don't know about it. And that's important, because I know a lot of people, I mean, we can use Evan Carter again as the example. If we'd had this in 2020 and we'd had Kip on, he would have explained the Evan Carter thing.
I think at about 625 is when you guys threw a wrench in the draft, and with Kumar Rocker, and I'm not bragging about this, but I wrote that if it was my pick, I would take Rocker, and
he did.
And so you guys followed my advice, and I'm pretty honored about that. But when did that come to fruition? Because his medicals didn't come out until like early July.
Oh, wow. So I didn't know, Jeff, that you were on board. I might have thought a different way if I knew that but that's all right.
We're doomed.
Evan Carter wouldn't have been a second round pick had COVID not happened.
Right. And I think everybody sees that now.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, kind of favorite guys that we had. I think Blaine Krim is one of our favorites, because he came on from Puerto Rico. He's in the Dominican now. I don't know if he's got good Wi-Fi down there, but we might as well try. And then
Holland, the first time we had Derek Holland on, he little controversial. Some people didn't like his answers, but he was hysterical. And I'll always remember the line he said, and he was not a big mask guy for all the COVID people. Look, I don't care which way you lean on that. It's not my big deal. But when he said, if I cut a fart and you can smell it, the mask isn't working. And I'll just always remember how funny I thought that was.
Well, that's a good point.
And it was a good point.
And then even our recent episodes, I really enjoyed Aiden Curry.
Yes.
Getting to know him, and then I'd seen him, of course, in spring training. I think I met him
he was so good.
He was really good, and he's kind of on the right trajectory. So it's just kind of guys like that. And then we've interviewed guys who are no longer with the organization.
Absolutely.
Cole Reagans and Tommy Sajaci and TK Roby all had come on the show twice, and
right.
You kind of you hate to see him go, but you wish them well, because they're going to get an opportunity that they probably didn't have here.
It's very rare that the guys we have talked to are well thought of, and so well thought of that if they're not in this organization, I don't think there's anybody that's not in this organization because they got released or let go, really. Well, some of them were DFA'd from the big league level, but they had already made it to the big league level. But what I'm talking about, when they were minor leaguers, they were used in a trade. That means other people valued them enough to take them on to make a trade. So JC was one of them, who's now top 5 in their organization. He would be top 5 here probably too, the way he hit. And TK Roby has jumped up in there, but everybody, the minor league guys, and we'll get back at it again. We got a lot of minor league guys that we'll get back on. There's new ones in the system. We've had on Wyatt Langford.
Yeah. I mean, as you've gotten to know everybody, and including your teammates, what are your thoughts of have you sensed that there's a theme with people in the organization? Because I know Chris Young is big on family. He's big on just being a good person,
character, and winning. And he's big on winning.
What have
definitely.
Have you run into that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it runs throughout the whole organization. Each manager and stuff tries to run it the same way that Chris Young wants it to be run. So, it's good to be a part of an organization that's like that. And like during the Zoom meetings, when Chris was talking about that stuff, that made an impact on me, and like wanted me to land with the Rangers and be a part of this organization.
I mean, as you've gotten to know everybody, and including your teammates, what are your thoughts of have you sensed that there's a theme with people in the organization? Because I know Chris Young is big on family. He's big on just being a good person,
character, and winning. And he's big on winning.
What have
definitely.
Have you run into that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it runs throughout the whole organization. Each manager and stuff tries to run it the same way that Chris Young wants it to be run. So, it's good to be a part of an organization that's like that. And like during the Zoom meetings, when Chris was talking about that stuff, that made an impact on me, and like wanted me to land with the Rangers and be a part of this organization.
That's one of my great things that I love about this show too, is that we have gone to guys relatively quickly after they've come into the organization.
Yeah.
We did it with Bochy the day he had his press conference.
Right.
We did it with That was episode, what was Bochy?
58.
58. Go back and watch that one. That was the day he was hired. Joining us right now from Globe Life Field is Texas Rangers manager, new Texas Rangers manager, Bruce Bochy. Bruce, thanks so much for joining us, sir.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me on. I could see that the potential of this club was, it wasn't 3-4 years down the road. I'm talking about next year and beyond. This is how close I think they are to getting this turned around, and hopefully bring some pride to the Ranger fans and find our way to playing winning baseball again. Because it wasn't that long ago that you guys were wearing the horn, so to speak, in American League, and that's where we want to go.
One of my favorites is it 63 that we had? 63 had in studio. We had Mike Maddox,
yeah.
And then later that day, we had Jacob deGrom.
The crazy thing is, I think that was like 5th in the league, and I think that's something that Chris Young and Bruce Bochy want to change, where Rangers pitchers maybe go an extra inning. Maybe, I don't want to say you push them, but it seems like that is something that's going away from the game that Chris and you and Bruce believe in, getting guys into the 6th and 7th inning.
You got to set the bar high, man. If you want to get wins, and I think wins are important. Some people say they don't matter. I say, well, really? Okay, so if we end the season 60 and 102, well, I guess I didn't think wins mattered. Oh, no, they matter. Yeah. They matter. And as a starting pitcher, wins matter. And sometimes, especially at home, you go out there and you throw 5 innings. Well, the other team gets 6 at bats, or you get, they get 5 at bats to your 4. If you throw 6 innings, they got 6 at bats to your 5.
Yeah.
So if you want to get the win, sometimes it takes 7 at bats for your team to get the win. So if I got to go an extra inning to get a win, or 2 extra innings to get a win, a lot of times that's where you get your wins, is in the 7th and 8th inning.
Yeah.
So if you want to get the win, you better hang out, man. And that whole quality start thing, 6 innings, 3 runs. Last time I checked it out, that was a 4.5 ERA. Well, I think good games are thrown in the 7th inning, 8th inning, and 9th inning. And that's where we got to push them to.
I guess I've asked you about this a little bit, but analytics are kind of dictating a lot of that. How, you can't go a 3rd time through the order because this, and this happens. I know what the numbers say, but there's got to be a lot of gut there, or as Wash would say, trust the gut.
You got to.
Yeah.
You look back at that 3rd time through, and you mention analytically. I don't think that Bob Gibson or Sandy Koufax or Nolan Ryan knew the word analytically.
Yeah.
Okay? And if you look back in the record books, it's nothing new. It has been going on for 100 years, 100+ years, that 3rd time through has always been kind of a hump for the starting pitcher.
Yeah.
It's nothing new. It's just now it's like this big focus, But, back then people, 1, 2, 3 in the first, and you face, 10 guys through 3, and then it might take you 15 times the 2nd time through, and it might take you 15 times the 3rd time through. But that's the way the game has always been. It's nothing new. It's just now people say, oh, we got to do something different. Well, you can, but I think you kind of wear your bullpen out.
Yeah.
And, you're only as good as your bullpen.
Yeah.
Through the course of a season, you are only as good as your bullpen. But your bullpen is only as good as rotation. So they kind of one hand wipes the other, so they got to work together.
Joining us right now from Globe Life Field, it's new Texas Rangers ace, right-handed pitcher, Jacob deGrom. Jacob, thanks so much for joining us, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
So what have the last, 6 days been like for you? Maybe even longer, maybe the last 7.
It's been kind of a whirlwind, just figuring out everything, deciding to come to Texas and be a part of the Rangers. It was very exciting, and then traveling here, doing this announcement, it's been kind of a whirlwind, but we are super excited to be here, and me and my family are looking forward to the next 5+ years here.
What was it that sold you on the Texas Rangers?
Yeah, like I said, I think it's whenever you hear that teams are calling, Texas was one that I heard that we were going to have a Zoom call with and go through the meeting process with. And, I was excited, and you're excited to see what teams have to say. And, talking to CY and Boch was on the call, just hearing those guys' vision. Boch has won 3 World Series, so he knows what it takes to get there, and the vision of this team and where we want to be lined up with what I wanted to do. I want to win baseball games and ultimately win a World Series, and that's where the goal is, and to do that for a number of years. That was the vision of what they're trying to do here, and I felt like that lined up with what me and my family wanted to do, and ultimately made the decision to sign with the Texas Rangers, and thrilled about it.
Right. That was a busy day.
That was a busy day.
Back and forth.
We were going to and from and that was a fun one, but
yeah.
that's also breaking news.
Yeah. And we had Nathan Eovaldi on also the day he signed.
All right. And joining us right now from Globe Life Field, it's new Texas Rangers pitcher Nathan Eovaldi is joining us. Nate, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Doing well. We just saw you at the press conference. Saw you, saw the family. I made your son a paper airplane. I hope he's enjoying it. They were rustling those papers during it. It was pretty funny.
He still has it. He was throwing it around earlier, but he's still got it.
Okay, good. I hope he doesn't poke anybody's ie out. But it seems like the Rangers have. I mean, every team wants their pitchers to not walk guys, but there's been a point of emphasis for the Rangers. It seems like Chris Young, and I know from experience, and John knows, having worked with Mike Maddox, that Mike Maddox, that's his thing too. What's your interaction been with those two guys?
Yeah, so I've been talking to CY quite a bit, obviously, with all the negotiations and things like that. And then ever since that I've signed the deal, or we came to an agreement with it, we've been talking a lot. And that was one of the other things that intrigued me about coming over here is you have somebody with a pitching mind in the front office that has finger and knows what we're going through and what it takes to be successful, and he's working with ownership and to make that happen. And that was another reason to coming over here and working with Maddox. We've only had 2 brief conversations, but I'm extremely excited about coming over here and working with him, the success that he's had and working with players, and obviously as a pitcher himself, just to be able to be a part of that. And I think it's going to be outstanding for us. And same with Bochy. Having the success that he's had as a manager and just knowing what it takes to win a World Series championship.
And they're not the in-depth ones that we like to do, hey, what's your favorite food? And tell us something we don't, people don't know about you, but
you can't keep them good enough.
You can't keep, they're kind of making the rounds. They're going from radio show to TV to us,
but the Rangers hooked it up.
It's nice to be included in that.
Absolutely.
But probably really the newsiest one. I mean, that's obviously big news, but the newsiest one might have been when we had Tony Beasley on.
Yes, it was the day after
48. It was
2 days or
2 days. Shoot, it was their first day of their road trip in Minnesota.
When Woodward had been fired.
He'd just gotten the job. His head was spinning. Everybody's head was really spinning because John Daniels also had gotten fired, and so there was
He was in that hotel room.
He was in his hotel room, but he was all of a sudden, it was him and Chris Young were the face of what was going on.
Right.
And, he had been given marching orders of what to do. I think he handled them to the best of his ability. I think if Bruce Bochy hadn't been available, that Tony Beasley would have really been a serious candidate. But he did get an interview.
Yes, he did.
But, and
deservedly.
And even he acknowledged, like the day after they hired Bochy, I called him. I was at a TCU game. And I called him, and he said, I mean, it's Bruce Bochy. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And so
that's funny.
But he's such a good guy. And but yeah, that I'd say that was probably our hardest
breaking news
episode.
I think the only one that actual news broke during the interview was when we were doing Cody Freeman.
Cody Freeman
was the catcher, and as we were talking to Cody Freeman, news came out that Bruce Bochy had just been hired by the Texas Rangers, and we got to break the news to Cody Freeman.
Yeah. I don't know. You might have seen me in that episode. Look at my text, and then I might have shown you.
You showed me, and I had seen it, and I was like going, okay, we got to somehow bring this up.
And then I think I might have tweeted during the show, but you know, these are just kind of fun things that happen. But you know, that's the thing about baseball. Baseball's supposed to be fun, even when the team is shitty. And we had a lot of bad baseball to talk about for
we did
the first probably 70 episodes
at least. Yeah,
you know, but you know, these things happen in cycles. You have to be patient. You never know who's going to hit as a prospect. You never know who's going to be signed. You know, I mean, who could have expected Corey Seager and Marcus Semien to sign?
No,
you know, and so
we weren't doing the show then, so that was
we were. Yeah, that was the December of 21.
That's right. But they were signed, and then the Rangers couldn't make contact. That's
because
what it was.
They went to the lockout.
They went into the lockout, and they weren't allowed to set it up where we could do an interview with them.
Yeah,
that's right. And still to this day, though, neither one of them. I think both of those guys will eventually be on this show. But I also understand the way they are now.
Yeah.
In fact, one of them just was who got the Hustle and
Heart and Hustle Award.
Heart and Hustle Award.
Yeah.
And guys, Seager likes Jeff. He does like Jeff. He is not he just doesn't seem like a podcast guy. I don't think he doesn't want to spend more than 10 minutes doing anything.
I don't think he wants to spend more than 5 minutes talking to the media, but
but you had to sit down and do a big feature.
I've done a couple stories on him for the Rangers, and you know, he was definitely more comfortable this year than he was last year.
Sure.
And, he's going to get more comfortable, I think, going forward. Of course, now he's this, you know, World Series hero. He can, you know, name a street after him in this town for doing what he did, and
that's the guy that gets a statue.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have Adolis on. You know, he's getting more comfortable with his English.
Yeah,
that'd be fun. Leody Taveras is
his English is really good. I think
really
I think
good.
he could
Jose
probably,
Leclerc would be really good to have on.
Yeah, he's really speaking good.
You know, and I think I mentioned this in one of our episodes during the postseason. They speak Spanish in front of a national audience because they don't want to say something that's incorrect and gets misinterpreted and sounds wrong and makes them look foolish or makes them look like they're picking a fight with somebody or whatever it is. You know?
Absolutely.
And that's fine. You know, they can speak English. They do speak English.
Yes.
For somebody who doesn't speak Spanish fluently, and I don't. I know you don't.
I don't. No.
For anybody to say, "Oh, they should be speaking English," it's garbage.
Yeah.
You know, they need to. They're at least representing the team, and they want to do it the right way, and they want to represent themselves the correct way. So
they don't want to be misinterpreted.
Let them speak in their where they're most comfortable. You know, it's a service they're doing to the media, honestly, and nobody should complain about stuff like that.
Not at all. Not at all. And I think one of the, you know what what I really loved about this, and a lot of players, you guys don't see it, but like, especially with the new studio, we haven't had anybody in studio yet, but we do a Zoom call.
Yeah.
We get the guys on to a Zoom with them and all of that. You don't see the before we're recording and the after we're recording when these guys are just laughing and yucking, and they have had a great time.
Yeah.
And they have had fun, and that's why. And you know what? When I knew this was really good too, was when there were certain people we would have on and they would go, "Yeah, I've seen a couple episodes." Because, you know, when you approach me and people have talked about it and done that, and the players watch it. I know the front office watches it.
Right.
They keep up with it to see what's going on. And I'll tell you when the front office really watches it is when we have on a minor league. And don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. They want to make sure the kid sounds cool, you know, good, and didn't say anything that sounds wrong or anything like that. Although they trust us to know that we're not here to burn anyone.
Yeah. And you know, and I think one thing that has shown through on our show that the organization strives to do is to sign quality people.
Sure.
And you know, all of these minor leaguers are just great kids.
Right.
And so are the players. I mean, you know, John Gray, who we've had on twice, he's unique. You know, I mean, he's a gamer.
Yes.
But you know, he also was the Rangers Roberto Clemente Award nominee for what he does in the community. And you know, he was just he's been recognized as the Bob Feller winner, which goes to the major league player who helps support the military the most. He brings soldiers and families to
Yeah,
games.
he's done that a few times. Yeah.
And then he also, he and his wife support what's called the Powerful Rescue, I believe is what it is. And it's about dogs and rescue dogs.
Yeah.
And John Gray loves dogs. He had dogs growing up. I think we'll have him on again, I'm sure, in spring training. He has 4 Yorkshire Terriers. And
those little Yorkies.
And I mean, he's this big guy who is worn a mohawk and throws the ball hard. And he has dogs that are about this big.
Yep.
And he has a lot of them, and he loves them.
And he loves the heck out of them.
And you know, it's just kind of funny stuff. But you know, the Rangers signed him as a free agent the same day they signed Seager and Simeon. And it's about the guy, about the work ethic, and you know, you can go up and down our list of guests, and they're all a fit in that regard. And
you know, we've never had someone on that afterwards I was like, good Lord, that was brutal.
Yeah.
Because there are personalities out there where they are just not.
Yeah.
They're whether they're surly or they just don't have a personality, and
yeah, they wouldn't do it in the first place. I think. But the Rangers don't have those guys.
No.
You know, I just am. It's really something that Chris Young believes in. John Daniels believed in it. That if you're a good guy and a good teammate, you're going to have a better team. And if, you know, you look at just look at the guys. Look at the guys who did well in the postseason and who've done well in the minor leagues. And you know, Wyatt Langford, he's getting his feet wet. He's an intense guy. You know, he's going to loosen up.
Yep.
But he was good. He was a good guest.
He was a great guest.
We've had Aaron Zavala on, another intense guy, and he's been good.
We even go to the past. We had on when we had Colby in studio. We've had Michael Young and Ian Kinsler on, and they were so much fun to talk to.
Yeah,
and
you know, when Colby was a player, he you know, his post start interviews were usually pretty short, and if he hadn't pitched well, you could tell he didn't want to be there. But Colby's just a great guy. I mean, he's a family guy. You can talk to him about his history sometime if you get to know him and his family's history, and just a super guy. And then Michael and Ian, you know, Michael's family first. I mean, that's why he took the leave from the Phillies when he did in his last year there, and but yeah, you know, and I've known these guys for a while too, and
yes,
and so there are some places we haven't gone yet that we need to tap into, and you know, we haven't had Eric Nadel on, for instance, and
in this year, I've already talked to Eric.
Yeah,
Eric said anytime, but we know what Eric was dealing with this year, and it was not the time to bug Eric. Mental health is something that has affected my family. My oldest son went through a time when he was dealing with some stuff, and so you have to tap around that, and you don't want to bug.
But he also has been an advocate of it, and in his statements that he released, he was, you know, bringing awareness to it, and he might, you know, that's something he might want to do. But this guy spent 45 years. This is 45 years at the Rangers. He finally got his World Series, and you know, so close, obviously previously, but
that call was fantastic.
Yeah, but and
this is not a dream.
He knows a lot of guys and has great stories to tell.
Hicksy, we got to get Hicksy on. We've had on Jared. A lot of the media guys we've had on, they're great. The media guys who spend time talking.
Yeah,
especially the radio TV personalities, because we've between Emily and Jared, and we've had on CJ, who's
Dave
really
Raymond a couple
Dave
times,
Raymond's fun to have
hilarious.
on. Yeah. They're great, but they're used to doing that.
Yeah,
and that makes it fun for them. So I know Eric will be fantastic. And when I talked to Eric, I was in the elevator, and I said, "Hey, Jeff and I really want to get you on." He goes, "Anytime, just let me know." And I knew we were good.
Yeah.
So now it's just a matter of let's make that time.
Yeah.
And get it to go. I knew Eric would come on. Matt Hicksey's somebody we got to get on to. Hicks is fun. We're both theater dads, so you know, we got that in common.
Yeah, the thing I don't understand about Matt Hicks is why he was in the minor league so long. And I've never asked him. He's so good.
Yeah. He's fantastic.
He's so good. And it's, you know, and he was probably having a great time doing it, but you know, geez, you know, this guy is great.
He's fantastic.
And so
you ever talk to him down by the dugout too? He's just so much fun to talk to.
Yeah. But so we're to the point now where we've had a lot of guys on twice. we've had John Daniels on 3 times, though we hit it under the third appearance under the guise of Do It for Dirt.
Right.
And that's another thing, I want to help guys who have causes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Jared, that's why Jared did
Jared Sandler's been on. Dane Dunning was on for his. Derek Holland talked about his charity. Michael Young has charities. These, but some of them keep it more quiet than others, and that's fine.
Right.
But if they have something,
this show
want to help them.
Has a link to Do It for Dirt.
Yeah.
And you're sit on the board of it. I've become really active in it just through y'all. And I've been all on board for Do It for Dirt before you and I ever even did this, just because I knew who I didn't know Richard. I knew who Richard was.
Yeah.
Richard was one of my guys. I like to read and do all of that. And just remember how upset I was when that happened. I just felt horrible for him and his family. So it was easy to get involved with Do It for Dirt. And I would, buy stuff and do things like that. Now it's just fun to be a part of it, playing the golf tournament and have a lot of fun. But this show got 100 episodes. And look, another one, there are guys too where you kind of see their personality and you're like, I think that guy might be a good one. And Travis Jankowski was one of my favorites.
Great.
We had started to, he was not an everyday starter. He was a World Series hero. He was a big part of this team all season long with what he did. Yeah. And it was just, I'd gotten to kind of talk to him a couple times at his, you'd be at his locker, you're waiting around for guys before games or whatever. And he would we'd just be talking about stuff, and we're both people of faith and all of that. And we were just talking about that. Man, he was fantastic.
Yeah.
Had the new baby. He had adopted this. He was just having so much fun.
Yeah, the Quakers. That's a pretty good. He's from Quaker country, and his son was mimicking the sound of the horses on the streets as they come by in the buggies. But when we started this, the Rangers were in the midst of a 102 loss season.
Oh my gosh.
We're at episode 100, and they're now world champions.
And welcome to the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast. This is episode number 99, and today is World Champion Texas Rangers Day, and this is huge for me. You can see I wore my Texas Ranger garb, and I'm not ashamed to wear it today because the Texas Rangers are the world champions. Oh my gosh!
And episode 99.
That was my favorite.
Yeah, it's Josh Sborz, who's another guy who
was great.
A terrific personality.
Civil War General with Josh Sborz. That was a funny line. And man, this is never going to get old saying this, but it is world champion right-handed pitcher for the Texas Rangers, Josh Sborz, who, by the way, threw the very last pitch in the World Series. Josh, this is exciting. This is the first time I'm wearing all my gear, you see, because I was a fan.
Looks good on you.
Way before I was ever in the media, I'm a fan. So what's going on, man?
Just, I like what you said. We got, right-handed pitcher, champion, just really flows well.
But that's how far. We talk about how far we've come.
Right. That's how far they've come.
That's how far the team has come, and
we covered the rebuild.
To be here to chronicle it at this podcast, and also rangerstoday.com, $5.999 a month, $35 for 6 months, $60 for a year. We're gonna have some specials coming up here the next week for like Black Friday and all that, and there might be a chance to get a book, and so anyway, but to be able to do that has been a lot of fun, and we've had a lot of support along the way, and we're always looking for more support. So if you want to hop on here and as a sponsor one of the segments,
it's affordable sponsorship, guys.
Yeah, it's
we are not. Let me tell you what. There's a reason Bally Sports is going out of business. Advertising is getting so expensive out there that maybe you don't have the dollars to spend on Bally Sports that you want to spend somewhere else. We get a lot of clicks. We can show you.
Yeah, we got data.
We got data that shows what we do, and it's great. And you know what? We've always wanted to be that. I remember when we first started, people started some pricing that they were trying to put out originally to advertise, and I was going, that's ridiculous pricing.
Yeah.
We want your mom and pop. That's who we love.
Yeah.
We like the little guys. Maybe you own 2 or 3 sandwich shops, and this would be fantastic to throw a little bit of money towards doing this. We've got so many different sponsorships on there that you can do and that will work. And we'll work with guys. Hey, you know what? Let's try it this way. And if it works good, we can always work in something bigger.
Yeah, but we're not looking to.
We're not trying to make a living.
We want to support our families, but we're not looking to keep anybody from supporting theirs. So,
no, absolutely. We know that the people that listen to this and follow this, and Ranger fans especially, they will back and support people that support the Rangers.
Sure.
That's just a fact. I buy stuff literally because they support the Rangers. I've done it for 50 years.
Well, I mean, that was the secret sauce behind NASCAR for so long, was brand loyalty. And
absolutely.
And I look out at the wall and right field, or maybe it's moved around, but it used to be right field, and I see National Rental Car. Well, that's the place where I rent my cars from.
Yeah.
And it's just little things like that stick with you. And
yeah,
I mean, shit, I'd love for like Orange Theory, my gym. Hey, that'd be great if they could sponsor us, or American Airlines, or But come on, let's be realistic here. But we had help from both
minor leagues, the Double
Frisco
A,
and Round Rock, and maybe we can work something out more with them. But
our advertising, we didn't pursue our advertising like we should have, because in the midst of getting this going, we were also supposedly had sales teams that were doing this, and we were kind of tied. But the main thing we did is we kept our show.
That's right.
And then when we got away and said, let's do it on our own, we can sell our own advertising.
Yeah.
And we want to work with all you guys on that. And on this 100th show, it was kind of a come to fruition. We're going to get back to the point of we want to open up, and we want to partner is what we want.
Yeah. Sure.
Premier Properties has been a big partner with us and helped us with the studio. They helped us with some spring training stuff that they've done. We want to partner with you guys. We want to be a part of, these videos. If you want to see us wearing your hat, or you want to see at this table your beer company.
Yeah, product placement, I believe is what they call it, John.
And I'm telling you right now, I won't just place it. If it's a beer, I'll drink it.
Oh yeah, me too.
And I'll let you know all about it and do that. But guys, it's been 100.
It's been 100. This book.
There are no advertisements in this book. This is not.
Well, we didn't have anything to do with the book as far as publishing it. I just wrote all this stuff. But it's available at triumphbooks.com/RangersWin. It's also on Amazon. It's at Barnes and Noble, Costco. It's out there now.
Is it number one on Amazon?
On Amazon, it's number one in like a subcategory, but number one is number one. As of yesterday, at one point, it was number 14 in all baseball books on Amazon being sold. So get this; it's a good item. It's a commemorative. I mean, got the forward by Michael Young, writing by Jeff Wilson. You might have heard of him. Yeah. But look, I mean, this is a great picture they pulled of the Seager home run in Game 1, and just throughout it, there are great pictures. And at the very least, pick up a copy, give it as a gift. And again, stay tuned next week. There might be a chance for you guys to get your hands on them. And another thing we're going to do this off season is a live show.
We've already started to talk on that.
We're aiming, or not a live show, like an in-person show, a location show.
A location show.
And
hopefully to have some people in the organization, whether they're media, maybe a player, maybe a coach, somebody will be there. But we've got to go through the Rangers.
Yeah, it'll be around the airport. DFW, not Love Field. And if you've got a book, you want me to sign it for some reason, I'll do it.
And if you want me to sign it for any reason,
he won't do it.
I won't do it.
He's not allowed to sign the book. I think that's in the contract.
Yes.
So anyway,
I will sign your bra or your
easy.
That's it. I'll sign your T-shirt.
Well, whatever. Yeah, we're not celebrities.
I am not.
Jesus. But anyway, again, 100. We should have brought a beer to toast or something.
No, it's been great, guys. Thank you. The numbers have started. In fact, the numbers have even increased on the old shows. People have started going back to watch some of the old stuff. But the numbers have been amazing. And when I saw the numbers from that old thing that I came from, which, by the way, I was very proud of what I had put together over there.
Sure.
But this is just a different ballgame.
Well, good. yeah, we want it to be the best, and hopefully it is. I think it is. You know, I tip of the cap to the other guys out there doing it, but
yeah,
we just have a little bit more sway and a different element that we can bring. And so anyway, yeah, thanks to everybody. Thanks to John. Thanks to the Rangers.
Thanks to Jeff for bringing me over here to do this.
So here's to at least 100 more. Hopefully 200 or 300 more.
Well, our plans are to take this thing for a while. We want this to be, look, Bally Sports is not about to be a part of Texas Rangers anymore. Rangers Today is.
That's right.
We're not going anywhere.
So
this is a media outlet for the Texas Rangers. We're going to be here. We really came into fruition about 2.5 years ago, and man, 2.5 years into this, we got to do an entire season, and they went to the freaking World Series.
Yeah, pretty good way to cap 100 right there.
Guys, thank you so much. We can't tell you how much we appreciate this. It means the world to us that all of you are on board with us. We want to keep this thing going. We want to see you out there. If you want a copy of this book, I will get it signed for you, I promise. Jeff will sign that book for you if you buy one. Get out there and buy it. If you want them for gifts, we'll make a plan to get it signed somewhere so you can give it away. But we can't do this without you. We appreciate it. We've done 100. And until next time, we'll see you at the yard.